Okay, today we have with us Terry McKelvey. He's part of the Edinboro 8 exhibit we're having at the Crary, which will be a display from September 4th through October 2nd. Welcome to the gallery, Terry.
Thank you.
At what point did you know that you were an artist?
It's basically something I was sort of pushed or encouraged in that direction all my life. So that was something I was always interested in, and I guess there was always sort of an assumption on my part as I got older that I would probably go to art school once I graduated from high school, and so I took that path because it seemed the most obvious or natural to me.
Mm-hmm. What inspires your work? Is it sights, sounds, nature, music, people?
Well, I would say there are different things that I don't even like the word inspire, but I guess what informs the work.
Sure.
What informs this work is basically, it's pretty straightforward. They're observationally based. I find that I'm really interested in examining light and how light plays over form and how light informs space, and how that all interacts with the medium of paint, and how the texture or the layering of paint and brush strokes and marks builds up and suggests form. So whether I have paintings that were done in my studio, interior scenes and still lives, and I would say that the impetus or the interest beneath them is really pretty similar to what informs the plein air outdoor paintings that I did, even though those are much smaller and developed a lot more quickly over a couple of quick sessions. Is an interest in a light condition, an interest in physical space, and how that is described in the rectangle. I also I think another thing that is sort of evident in most of my work going back, but preceding this work, is an interest in the tension between describing pictorial space, in other words, creating an illusion of depth, but also being very interested in a kind of a modern treatment of space which emphasizes two-dimensionality rather than three-dimensionality. So there's in a lot of my paintings, probably more evident in the studio paintings rather than the little landscapes, is sort of a struggle or a tension between two-dimensional and three-dimensional space. In other words, there might be elements in the painting that look very three-dimensional or volumetric, or they might advance forward into the foreground or recede into the background, but then there'll be other elements or shapes or colors or surface features which might cause the space to look more flat rather than three-dimensional. And even in the little plein air landscapes, there are certain elements within the compositions that do that. That might have more to do with framing, the way the composition is framed, that would cause a certain element in the background to advance forward. And I've always been interested in that kind of dynamic tension between depth and flatness.
I think it's particularly true when you're looking at your interior work. That when you work with your interior work, do you stage it and position objects intentionally?
I do. Even though I think the painting that probably looks the most formally staged is the one titled Pieta, which has a little reproduction postcard in the upper left corner of the painting of a Bellini painting, Pieta. That's where the title for the painting comes from. And there's a fairly sort of academic sort of arrangement of the forms in there. In the other paintings, I think the attempt was to create a composition that felt a little more random or haphazard or accidental even, but in truth, I think about the arrangement very seriously, and so there's sort of a reason for the placement of every object, or the selection of the colors, or the way that I have chosen to frame or crop every element in the painting.
What would you like your audience to take away from your work?
Well, I guess with this particular body of work, it's all, I would describe these paintings as almost purely formal, as opposed to earlier or other bodies of work I've done where I sort of balance formal concerns with social critique or something like that. There's none of that. There's none of that overtly or even covertly going on that I'm aware of in these paintings. So I guess, however, I try always to create paintings that are compelling, that would compel a viewer to stand in front of them for a while and puzzle them and try to consider what the arrangement, what the color, what the space means to them. I like paintings that, I guess in terms of my own taste or preferences for paintings that are compelling to look at, and that when viewed over and over offers something different each time. And to the extent that one might feel compelled to revisit the paintings and look at them more than once, I hope that that the layers of the painting, the complexity, would sort of reveal itself over multiple viewings rather than be seen all at once.
Right. Outstanding. Well, Terry, I appreciate you taking the time to discuss your work coming up, and welcome to the gallery.
Thank you very much.